the first keynote. While we're waiting for the slides to come up, ladies and gentlemen, we now have 3 sessions taking us all the way to the end of the conference. There is no lunch break, but there's a lunch at the end of all the sessions. The first one is on next steps and future opportunities. We have 3 speakers, 3 keynote addresses from thought leaders and practitioners in this field. Then we have 2 panels on regional initiatives in Nigeria and national initiatives from other states and countries of Africa, following with the closing addresses. We end with closing addresses by many of our supporters and partners for this particular event. The first session is going to be called Next Steps and Future Opportunities, and we have 3 outstanding keynotes coming up. The first keynote will be by Lamin Kamara, Chairman of the Regulatory and Commission Subcommittee of ACE. You heard him speak yesterday and the day before. He's going to give us another visionary keynote speech today. Following which, we will hear from Artur Mendes, who is the CCO of Angola Cables. He comes to us from Angola and he tells us some of the initiatives coming up in Angola. And after that, we will have Gimba Mohammed, Head of Public Sector at Main One. Okay, so we have 3 outstanding keynotes coming up. As you can see, our first speaker is going to be Lamin Kamara. Lamin, will you please come up on stage? And Dennis, can you switch to the presentation by Lamin Kamara? There's a presentation by Lamin. Thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause, please, for our first keynote speaker of this session, Lamin Kamara. Slides, please.
This time I'm taking a different angle, not to just talk about AIDS in general, but what AIDS has helped us move on in development with ICT in the Gambia. Prior to AIDS, we had a bandwidth that was less than 500 Mbps. And this is what we were relying on as a country for the whole internet connectivity to the outside world. Can I have the first slide, please? first slide, please. No, the mic is okay, it's just the slides are not. Okay, it was off, sorry. Okay, sorry, can you go back to the previous one, please? Yes, please. If you can make the slides through. Right, okay. Sorry about that. But like I said, when ACE came together, it gives us the opportunity to really exploit the benefits of ICT infrastructure development in a country. And we understood that before we were able to use ICTs or mainstream them in our social development process, we need to get the requisite infrastructure in place. And this is why the country invested in the ACE submarine cable to get a submarine cable for the international bandwidth element. And when we invested in ACE, it gives us the opportunity to be able to improve our international boundary, like I said, by tenfold. It shows how quick the ACE came in by early 2013, and we're in 2016 now, that we've used 10 times the bandwidth we had in 2012, which shows that with ACE is propelled development, and then that development was stalled because we did not have the adequate infrastructure that is needed to be utilized to achieve that development in the country. And we had a bandwidth of about 190,840 MIUs. Now we talk about upgrading the ACE system from 5.12 terabits to 12.8 terabits per second. And in that, we would get our bandwidth 10 times more, and that makes the investment in this infrastructure worldwide. Which is going to jump from 190,000 to 2.2 million MIUs, just for the upgrade to the 100 gig and to 12.8 terabits per second. And this is, foreseeing the developments that are taking in place, the apps, the applications that are being developed, the other uses of ICT to enhance public service delivery. With that, we also believe that in having the international bandwidth or infrastructure, you need a local transport infrastructure that will distribute this bandwidth from the landing station to the hinterlands in the country. And this is why we invested in another project called the National Broadband Network, where we got fiber across the country on both banks and replaced the old fiber. You may recall that Gambia had a fiber since 1984, but that was only on one side of the country, the South Bank, because we're divided by a river in the middle. But this time, that fiber cable has been replaced with an NGN technology, and a new fiber cable also laid on the North Bank, which is bridged by a submarine network through the sea to connect both banks, and also continue connectivity into Senegal to access other cable landing stations for diversity purposes. This cable is 747 kilometers long. Yes, I know Gambia is not that big, but we created rings or loops, whereby when you have a cut in one end, you still can have your traffic up and running. Because initially, when you had the single fiber failure point, when one side of the cable cuts, the whole country goes down until that route is repaired, and then we have to maybe use the satellite in the meantime before we repair that route. So what we're working on now is the access network, and for that is to close the gaps in the digital divide, and to go into areas that are not covered by fiber. We look at the different technologies that we put in place, which include wireless technologies, satellite, microwaves. These are all options we look at to close the missing links. We also, created the Internet Exchange Point to localize our national traffic. Before, whatever local traffic we have, it goes out internationally, which utilizes international bandwidth and makes it costly, and then comes back into the country. What we did now is to create this Internet Exchange Point, whereby we will localize, keep local traffic local, and also use it as a redundant infrastructure, whereby the operators that are connected will create kind of a redundancy for each other through the Internet Exchange Point. And what we also did is we tried to get a Google cache into the country, so that we localize all the Google content that people make use of. All we're doing is to preserve our international bandwidth, and also to improve access of these services at a quicker time through the cache. And we in talks with Facebook also, so that we'll get the same thing for Facebook and localize it in the country. That's the map showing the fiber, because the red dotted lines are the new fiber lines that we put in place. The ones on that yellow are the old fiber links we are replacing, and then that green space there with the line is where we have the sea, and that's where we have the submarine cable, called the Cross Gambia cable, because it's being utilized by both Gambia and Senegal. We had to partner our two telecom companies, Gamtel and Sonatel, had to partner and build that link, from Senegal across the Gambia to the other part of Senegal in the Casamance. So these are all part of our regional connectivity initiatives within the ECOWAS framework. Now we have e-government, government for better and cost-effective services through ICTs. This, we're working on the creation of a national data center. We have our data center, e-government data center, but when we realize there is no data center in the country, and we have a lot of data that are really hosted outside. And what we want now is to create a national data center, because government is always taking the lead in investing in key strategic invest and quickly put their investment. And this is why government took that strategy of supporting and promoting the development of such infrastructure through a public-private partnership, and then which is available for everyone to use. Government, private sector, the banks, and all that will use this national data center. It will consolidate and host government services. In so doing, what we're also doing is, through a support from a World Bank project, we're doing these local area networks for government ministries, departments, and agencies, which we would connect with fiber and LTE network to create a wide area network for government. In a nutshell, government will have its own ISP infrastructure, because government have been really indebted to the operators, and that was affecting the operations of operators, and we decided to create our own ISP, at least to take that burden off the operators, because they hardly get their money from government. This is what we're doing. And the LTE 4G network is going to be a government network that is going to connect about 300 offices and provide normative access to 2,500 senior government officials, whereby you'll be connected even at home, and to be able to carry on with your work if need be. Because we've seen that some people stay in the office office till late, at least to finish some of their work. Some of them need to use the facilities because of the internet access. But if we provide this, at least they'll be at home with their families and they will be able to work at home. And what we're also doing is, with these investments going on and these developments, we believe that e-government cannot happen if the citizens cannot get access to the infrastructure and the information or services you may put there. In that we work with the creation of community centers. In each region that we have a public access center whereby those who cannot afford internet cafes and all that, they can go there and have a free access or at a very affordable cost to access services at those centers. This we have created in 7 parts of the country, regions of the country, and we're also doing partnership with schools whereby we create these centers in schools. The schools can use the centers for ICT classes and all that. After school hours and weekends, it's available to the public to use. We call it Connect a School, Connect a Community. So this is a diagram of the government infrastructure we have. You can see the cloud up there. That is the IAD Summit cable, the international upstream part of it. And in the middle where we have the LTE NOC side connected to the sides with fiber or in wireless technology. We also have the Pan-African E-Network. This is a project that has been sponsored by the Indian government since 2007, which is providing telemedicine services for hospitals, linking them with super hospitals. We have one in Lebanon here, Nigeria, and other hospitals in India, whereby some of the skills or spaces you may not have in your country, you're able to go through this facility, patients to have treatment through that facility. E-learning facility also, whereby we link to universities in Africa and India. Countries can, students can take their courses, and get certificated. So I think we have about, in Africa, already have 12,000 students that have graduated in the e-learning, through this e-learning platform. And also a video conferencing facility that is provided. We work on a safer city and a secure society. And we have this biometric system for public documents, border control systems, and IC system for policing and coordination of security forces.
Next slide. There's something you want to click on.
Okay, thank you. Right, ongoing plan is the wide area network which I mentioned. What we do is we create, because the problem we have is coordination and cooperation from other government agencies, because all these government agencies may have started something in ICT development, some projects they have. To bring them together on a single platform is a challenge. But what we did is gradually we try to provide the general infrastructure which would be appealing to them, for them to come on board and get their services hosted by us and make use of the infrastructure. In so doing, we created an e-government platform whereby we involve all these institutions that have ICT projects ongoing, so that we coordinate, a single approach to achieving the objective. Just to summarize, time. Next slide, please. All right, what we did also is, for the enabling environment, we did a study. How do we propel broadband development in the country, which we call the broadband study. And the study found out that we have network dispersion, and we need to push ISPs and other service providers to a single national network. This is what we are doing with the national broadband network, that mobile operators will be able to use that as a transport network to connect their base stations and for more efficient use of resources, because we believe fiber is more efficient than microwave, and it takes longer period to use, because microwaves we have only 5 years lifespan at most, although they are network coverage to access end users and affordability in resources. The study also found out that what is holding broadband development is the affordability of devices. I think this was mentioned by an earlier presenter. Next slide, please. Affordability of devices. Next slide, please.
Dennis, can we have the next slide?
I think I'll just continue with you. It shows that we need to enhance digital literacy because digital literacy is low in the country. Push for the affordability of devices and enhance services, that is value-added services. Very recently, our mobile operators are launching mobile money services and also the purchase of electricity through mobile platform, whereby you can purchase. We have these prepaid platforms where you can use to purchase electricity and also pay your bills. These are things that service providers are doing to enhance the services that we provide to the public. We also have a policy that ended, a 10-year policy that ended this year, and we did a review of the policy to see what achievements we've done. And the review was conducted. It shows that we achieved 83% of the policy plan, action plans. And this assessment is done with the view to come forward with another 10-year plan. We believe that before you come forward, you need to know where you are, what you've achieved, what are the limitations, and what are the lessons learned, and that we will use to inform the second phase of this policy process. Next slide, please.
Yes, can we have the next slide, please?
Again, next please. Oh, thank you. As you all know, we're all working on the digital switchover. Every country that we need to get from this analog TV broadcasting to digital, which we are doing. We've already rolling out the network in the country, but in so doing, we also have to work on the policy and regulation that is going to govern this. And before I came last Friday, we just validated the policy and the regulations that are going to govern the digital migration process in the country, and how to deal with the digital dividend that we will have as a result of this digital migration. Next, please. Data protection and cybersecurity development, it has its pros and cons. And the threatening one is cyber threats propel in development. Really working on the legal framework for National Assembly in the country. And we did a spectrum study, how to manage spectrum in the country, numbering plan study, how to deal with numbering plans, and taxation study, looking at the issues like operators, the complaints they have with high taxation, that is hindering investment in the sector. So we believe before we can take any decision, we did a study to see what is the impact of taxation in the sector. And with that, we were able to engage government on the right tax mechanisms to put in place in order to propel improve investment in the sector. We also worked on the open access regulation, which we also validated 2 weeks ago. And these are all forward-looking things we are doing. Next, please. Next one, these are just indicators. Shows growth rates in the country. We are over 100% penetration, 120% in the Gambia for mobile. We are also services, which we want to improve. Next, please. So this is just
Angola cables, and so it's all the way from Angola, so
of Japan and the development bank of Angola, and we have now raised the funds, so we are starting the construction of walks connecting Angola to Brazil, and then being able to connect these important two continents of South America and Africa. By giving, to give you an idea of the saving in terms of latency, now to reach Brazil from Angola, we are spending more than 300 milliseconds. With this new cable, we reach Brazil in 63 milliseconds. We are cutting the distance in terms of connectivity by almost 5 times. And of course, this will not only help Angola, but helping Africa, as we could then cache the traffic from all Africa and be able to deliver at not only South America, but also to North America, because we are also participating in the second cable to countries, United States. So with these 2 cables, Monet, the submarine installation will be ready by end of this year. SAC's South Atlantic Cable System, the construction is just started, so it's a 2 years project. We'll be ready mid of 2018, but by that time we'll be able then to reach on a faster way from Africa to South America and to North America. And then, of course, there are several developments at this stage, and some cables already announced to interconnect them to Asia. And that Africa will stay with an important play in the center of the world, as we like it to see, because we are Africans, and to be as a support path way of interconnecting these regions with the biggest growth in the world. So this is how we like it to see the world in the next steps. We are not participating actively in the connection from Africa to Asia, but there are several projects announced recently, Africa One, Asia to Europe, Asia, Africa, Europe connection as well. So there's important steps being there. In Angola, of course, we have a data center there. We also have an IXP, as my colleague Gabia was speaking. We just made it now, mid of March, the first anniversary of Angonix, the Angolan IXP. We are proud to have already achieved the 3rd most traffic change point in Africa. After South Africa, Nigeria is the 2nd one, and Angola is the 3rd one. So I've been able to grow also with Akamai and Google's caching. And this is also an important step for Africa. We need to change the traffic local, because for me it don't make sense that for change traffic with my neighbor in the south, Namibia, I need to change it in London. Why? I should change it in Africa. So this is also something that as Africans we need to think about it, and to develop and to increase the interconnectivity between our countries, so that the traffic, local traffic, could stay local, and we could change among ourselves instead of needing to make that interconnectivity in Europe or in America. Spending much more time, spending more costs in terms of international connectivity, we could use that local connectivity. We are also developing a huge data center in Fortaleza, because we really would like also to help and support South America interconnections, because they have similar problems. They have also Fortaleza, where we are arriving with the cable. There's actually 7 cables and more 6 in plan. But the truth is that they are not speaking about themselves. So we're also trying to have there a place where we could change traffic and then be able to reach all the other South African countries. So I will only show you a bit of our project for this Tier 3 data center in Fortaleza. So that also helps interconnectivity between South America and African countries. This is all I have to review. I'm trying to connect to the future. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Alfred, for showing how Angola and Africa in general can be a part of global hubs of data flow. And yes, hopefully one day we will all go to Fortaleza and see that magnificent data center. Thank you so much. Our third speaker in this session is Gimba Mohammed. Will you please come up on stage, Gimba? You may have recalled that Gimba was on a panel yesterday on Invest in ICTs. Today he's going to share with you opportunities for ICTs in Africa. Gimba Mohammed.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be back here. My presentation will take a slightly different direction. So, just like the rest of the world, in Africa also, opportunity drivers have to come from what are those activities that people engage in their day-to-day life. we want to talk about trade, from the traditional ways of taking your goods, your farm produce to markets, and then exchanging them for cash, and then you can also buy those things you need, to what we have today, whereby you have electronic systems dominating the activities, and most of the transactions that are done today are either done via cashless processes, or even the e-commerce that is now the major ways through which people buy and sell their goods and services. We also look at the place of work. An average person spends a greater number of hours in the workplace, and that's where most of his activities are done during the day. So you can see the transformation also from the traditional workplace system, where you have movement of files, to the advent of computers, where most of the official functions are done via exchange of emails, but within a geographical space or within an office space, now to what the world is now requiring, that is beginning to tend towards things like telecommuting and remote access, people wanting to get on top of their organizational VPN even in their homes. You see people still on their networks in their homes and doing office transactions even at 12 midnight. So these are some of the things, and other areas like education, recreation, and even the way we communicate. In Nigeria, it's a very good example where you see the advent of GSMs, and they will start from the normal voice communications to what we now have as an ubiquitous way of communicating via data services, which is now threatening to even overtake the voice communication system. So, in my opinion, to find where the opportunities in the future lies, we still have to look at these key areas. Have there been any significant change in these areas? And how does that affect connectivity as we look into the next decade? And we agree that the societies are changing. The village squares, the offices, the classrooms are not the usual classrooms we used to have. But now with these changes, is there a need for greater connectivity and bigger pipes to aid our daily activities? I think the answer is yes, but let's just go along with the presentation. Now I try to just, this is actually maybe probably very funny, but I try to paint a picture of how banking was done about maybe 10, 15 years ago, where you go to the bank and then you have a passbook that is probably in 2 copies, the teller has one, you have one, and then everybody enters, you enter the amount you want. And we're also transferring to investments now in millions of dollars that is purposely built and designed to host our data that we had in files before. So, having painted that picture, what are those forces that are shaping the future of opportunities in Africa, just like the rest of the world? As a service provider, because I'm speaking from the position of the service provider, we see the growing commoditization of the services we provide, and this is largely because it's increasingly becoming very difficult for you to show a clear-cut differentiation from the kind of services you can get from the provider A to the provider B. So with these are some of the changes that we feel that are the forces that will shape opportunities. So whatever growth plans you have to now bear in mind that these are the changing dynamics, and the customers, the environment where the businesses are done are changing. It also includes data replacing the voice system of communicating. Before now, voice, I think up to about 3, 4, 5 years ago, even in Europe, voice was the leading sources of revenue in telecommunications. But as it will show, even here in Africa, you would have seen that the amount of text messaging, chats we do on a daily basis on WhatsApp, Facebook, and so many other platforms is threatening to overshadow the amount of communication we do via voice communication. Now, there are so many other factors that we can look at, which include new sources of business, growth in emerging markets, and why we put this growth in emerging market here also is the fact that even though in some societies, if I use Nigeria as an example, if you look at Lagos, Abuja, and Port Harcourt, those cities look like cities that are growing with the pace. But even within Nigeria, there are locations whereby if you move into those areas, the opportunities to be fresh, and perhaps you have to now take them through the same trajectory that places like Lagos, Port Harcourt, and Abuja have to go through. So these are also opportunities that we believe are valid as we go into the next phase of the telecommunication evolution. Now, there are trends that we also observe in other parts of the world. Sorry, the pictures are not so clear, but I'll try to explain them from here. These are opportunity drivers that are clear. And we've seen the shift from the traditional, whereby you just provide the traditional systems like voice solutions, providing internet access, and maybe connectivity, just maybe layer 2 or layer 3 connectivity, or maybe just provisioning of E1s to connect people to the process whereby you now see digital service providers who does not even require to have or own their own network also becoming a dominant player in the sector. And then we also see that same movement from traditional network provider system to the platform providers and also integrated service providers. So in other parts of the world, you see that great race towards becoming the integrated digital service provider, whereby you are able to provide services across all the verticals that are required. Now, coming back to connectivity, what are the major drivers that we see? We see the evolution of smart devices, the phones we are using in this room. A lot of people have smart devices. These devices, they require higher resolutions, better video quality. These are demands for better connectivity, mobile connectivity. So it's a source of huge opportunity. The advent of application ecosystem, where you have applications. I see a lot of people doing banking, even in this room. I was speaking to someone that was busy doing banking in this room, only because they had good connectivity. So these developments are actually good indications that the same evolution that brought us to where we are, we think there are still huge opportunity in them that will, guide our growth objectives plan into the next decade. Now, let me share with you quickly what MEM1 is doing in that regard. Sorry, you are going to have to help me move to the next slide.
Next slide.
Okay, so I broke it into two parts. I look at the infrastructure part. Just like my other predecessors have done, MEM1, we also have a submarine cable that was built and went live in 2010 from Portugal to Nigeria and Ghana. We actually have 2 landing stations in Nigeria and Ghana. And since then, we've seen the growth of the business, and also we've been able to make some significant changes in the telecommunication ecosystem in Nigeria and Ghana. It is a well-known fact that when we launched, we crashed the price of bandwidth by more than 80%, which is now making bandwidth available to a lot of people. So we also have other investments from the infrastructure perspective, which include the infracore license we just got from NCC, which will now create the access. We're actually building out now a wholesale open access system that allow all players to come to MEM1 and then acquire capacity at a rate that is not differentiated. Everyone is welcome to play. We just extended our submarine cable to Cameroon, and then now building back to the South-South to make South-South another exit point in Nigeria. Should, God forbid, anything happen to Lagos, Nigeria will still have an exit point in the South-South. Now, from the content perspective, please, the next slide, please.
Go ahead, one slide, please.
Sorry, I didn't say the last slide.
Please, next slide.
Okay. Okay, I think this is working now. Okay, I just wanted to share the contents. Okay. All right, so for the content, sorry, I am controlling here, so if you just let me do it, so we don't.
Then it's using the clicker now. Thanks.
Okay, so from the content perspective, we are also investing in areas like education. We're supporting research and education networks. We're also working closely, we're doing the same thing in Nigeria and in Ghana. We're also investing and collaborating with Innovate Lagos. Also areas like Lagos Angel Network, the Popular CC Hub, and L5 Lab. And then this next slide that is showing now is just to take us through Main One evolution, which is not new. So I'll just quickly go to the next one, which shows our cable network. If you could help me to the next slide that shows our cable network. Okay, so at Main One, we believe that you don't have to duplicate infrastructure. And I was particularly very happy and I was following closely the presentation by ACE and Angola Telecom. Now, for our cable, we have landing coming all through from Portugal to Nigeria and Ghana, and then recent extension to Cameroon. And then we also have peerings already with dominant players in the world like Level 3, Epsilon, Seacom, and Tata. But we welcome the investment that other sister companies in Africa are doing. Now, we also have a plan. If you look at the diagram to the left, you see the dotted lines which shows our plan. We are already in Cameroon. We are targeting Gabon. And then, with time, also get to Botswana. And maybe at some point, we'll cross paths with Angola Telecom. And then we can also handshake and then carry ourselves all over the world. Okay, so the last thing I want to share with you is, please skip 2 slides and go to the Main One data center. Yeah, so we also have a data center because we believe that as we are continuing on this journey, we need to have the required infrastructure. So yesterday, one of our partners in this journey, Rack Center, did say they have a data center in Lagos. We also have a data center in Lagos. Ours is a 600 rack data center. We also run a lot of platforms from it. We just launched our cloud. We have partnership with Microsoft, EMC, and also certifying for SAP. So we believe that we are strategically positioned to continue to play our part in the West Africa sub-region and as we extend to the southern part of the continent. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
Thanks so much. In the interest of time, we'll skip questions now, but you can catch them in the end of the sessions for further clarifications and any contact needs you may have. We now move to another very interesting panel. I want to invite Bashir Wando, please come up on stage. Bashir Wando is director of the Commonwealth ITU Telecom Group, and he's going to share with us some insights on what are the very interesting progress reports sort of from the various states of Nigeria. A round of applause, please, for Bashir. Bashir Wando is one of the moderators for this session, chairman of the Commonwealth ITU Group. Bashir, the floor is yours. Let me invite some of the representatives to come up on the stage, please. I do believe we have the representative, the governor of the Cross River State, Baro Marik Oba, to please come up on stage and join the discussion. And we also have, I believe, Tope Fedemoshi, Director of E-Commerce, the Federal Ministry of Communication of Nigeria. Are you in the audience? Please join us. Otherwise, some of the other presentations that you want to show?
is not here. There's a bit of mix-up in the program. The next program that will... Okay, I think we can now take the next set of...
Dennis, can you bring up the cross river scape presentation? Cross river scape, thank you.
Okay, we'll speak after the cross river presentation and we'll take that from there.
Dennis, the cross river scape presentation, thanks.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ofu Aya. I'm the Commissioner for ICT in Cross River State. My presentation is on ICT position in Cross River State. Then let me start by introducing us to Cross River State. Second slide. Welcome to Cross River State. Cross River State has a land mass of about 21 square kilometers, a population of 3.4 million, and 18 local government areas. We have boundary with Cameroon Republic, Benue State, Abia State, Ebonyi, Akwa Ibom, and the Atlantic Ocean. The state was one of the major oil producing states in Nigeria until Bakassi was ceded to Cameroon Republic. And as if that was not enough, 76 oil wells were transferred to Akwa Ibom State. And luckily for us, we were left with sustainable leadership. And that is what has kept the state today. ICT in Cross River State started with our first governor, Donald Duke, when he came on board in 1999. He introduced it as a unit in his office. And when he left in 2007, the next governor that came in here in Moke upgraded it to a department. And by 2015, when the digital governor came on board, His Excellency Senator Professor Ben IAD, he was given a full-fledged ministry status. The affairs of the kind in Nigeria, and to the glory of God, I was appointed as the Pioneer Commissioner in that ministry. Maybe perhaps the only ICT Commissioner in Nigeria as of today. Now, within the period, a lot has been done. Infrastructure, so much has been spent. So I'm going to take us down the scope to the infrastructure we have on ground. Please go back. Yeah. The capital of Cross River State is Calabar. And Calabar is connected with fiber optic up to 120 kilometers fully connected. In fact, it is the only city in Nigeria that is so connected. It is the cleanest city in Nigeria, the safest city in Nigeria, the most hospitable city in Nigeria. And the indigents are voted to be the honest indigents in Nigeria that pay their dues, their bills, their utility bills without any harassment. You can go to NEPA and find out, they will tell you. Now with this 120 kilometers of fiber optics, the ground is set for business. But beyond that, we also have our MBAs, all the ministries, departments, and agencies connected. That's the next slide. Go to the next slide. This one for all the MBAs. So for e-government. And then after that, we also have our data center that links up all. Then from the data center, we have our TKC, the knowledge village. That is the Tinapa Knowledge City. That's the next slide. This is where we develop indigenous software youth. And they made us so proud. Several awards they have gotten for the state and even for the nation because they represented us outside the country. This is where many of you would like to come and invest. We have the capacity to content as many ICT companies as possible. Go to the next one. Now we have also workforce that is well trained and ready for any ICT challenge. We have about 109 BTS installed everywhere in the state. So, given this scenario, what do? We came up with an initiative to start a project that is life-touching that will transform the life of cross civilians, and that is the Calabar Smart City. The first phase of the smart city has to do with the fiber to the homes. We want to embark on the triple play technology, data, video. I talk to you, we have mapped the city for other partners who are grant to start the project. After the phase one, we also intend to go to second phase. That second phase will involve deployment of other value-added services like e-health, e-transport, waste management, and the rest of them. Go to the next slide. Go again, that is smart city. Go. Go beyond that. Good. Now, when my governor was sworn in last year, he was asked what he inherited because every other governor was lamenting. Some said they inherited the empty treasury, others said debt. But he said he inherited a state with great potential. And the potentials are unveiling themselves now. So many projects have come on board, and luckily and interestingly for us, these projects are all driven by ICT. The first one is the garment factory, the biggest in Africa. It is going to be fully automated. It's about 85% completed, and by next month, will be commissioned for use. And so, the picture you are seeing there, those are from our carnival, last year carnival. All those clothing we won't import again. We'll rather be exporting from the garment factory. Go to the next one. The next one is the Bakassi Seaport. That too is going to be automated. We've started the groundwork. But it's linked up to another very important project, the evacuation corridor, our 260-kilometer road. Go to it. This highway is supposed to link us to the northern part of the country and other neighboring countries like Chad and Republic from the east. And most times it takes them hours to security. Improve citizen to government interaction. This is an application developed by the ministry. So you have issues, you can easily get in touch through our My City apps. I remember just last week, there was an issue flood somewhere. Somebody used it and called us, and we escalated it to the department, the ministry involved. Within an hour, our governor was there on site. Go on. The Calabar City 2 has started. It's also going to be driven by ICT. Fire. Go on. And then our water board, we have almost one of the best system of the water supply in Nigeria. And then we want to digitalize it. Before I left, we had sent for 10,000 of the meters we are seeing there on the screen. So that you can pay your bill from anywhere, you can get your water from anywhere. Go on. Continue. Education. Some corporate organizations are really supporting us, especially Samsung. We have the first and the only digital village in Oban. The health sector and educational sector are there. Even United Nations is part of that project. The other one is a smart school. They also have been for us in one of our government secondary schools within Calabar. Go on. The picture you are seeing there are women in technology. All those women are members of my ministry, Ministry of Information and Communication Technology. We started it just a few months ago, and they've already gone to places. Somebody was complaining here about the parity, about the men not taking women along. But we are more gender sensitive because than any other way. Our GIS, I think it's only in Cross River. Continue. In Nigeria. Governor, the digital governor in action, is the one on that bike. He led the bikers during the carnival last year. And then you have I think these other ones were from Brazil. All of them participated in that carnival. So you can get these through apps and watch them even when you don't come for the fun carnival. You can stay at the comfort of your home and watch everything. Continue. Government to government. Continue again. Yeah, I'm supposed to say thank you, but I won't say that. I have 3 prayer points for this gathering. And I want to give you my prayers. The first prayer is that you are all invited to attend the groundbreaking ceremony of the first smart city in Africa coming up next month. And that is the Calabar Smart City Project. The second prayer point is that this house should graciously adopt Cross River State as a model for the implementation of all the ideas that have come up from this gathering. And I think when we're able to do that, even when we come back next year, we'll be able to probably make practical reference to a state where the ideas that are generated from this conference have worked. The third prayer point is that our governor, Senator Professor Ben IAD, is the most investors-friendly governor in Nigeria. Calabar, the state capital, is an acronym, meaning come and live and be addressed. And as I talk to you, there is peace everywhere in Cross River State. As of yesterday, we paid our salary for April. So in Nigeria, that is the only state that has paid salary up to date. And so for this and many other reasons, you have every cause to come to Calabar, come to Cross River State and invest, and you'll be protected. Thank you.
We can ask questions. I think probably it's time for questions because people want to know more about Cross River.
Okay.
Very good presentation. After which I will call for the next.
Driven and use the infrastructure you build, the services you want to render going forward. Is this something the state itself is going to manage, or is this something you are also going to pass to the private sector?
The infrastructure, some were built solely by the state, and some partnership. Like the fiber optic in Canada, it was in another PPP with MTN. And as I talked to you, we also intend to cover the whole state. We finished the survey of 12,000 kilometers that covers almost all the local government. That too is under partnership with MTN. They've assured us that by next week they will come and these other projects are under.
But you know that the greatest problem we have in Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Honorable Udi Agi, Honorable Commissioner for Information and Orientation, Benue State. I'm representing His Excellency, the Governor of Benue State, Governor Samuel Tom, here, who is unavoidably absent because he was among the presidential team that went to China for business or on behalf of the country. In China for investment drive for the state. My friend has told you, mine is not full presentation, but I just want to make some remarks. His Excellency Governor Samuel Tom is very keen in driving information and communication technology in Benue State. To that extent, adequate provision have been made in 2016 budget. And when that is implemented, Benue State intends to set up Benue State Information and Communication Development Agency. When fully implemented, it will be used to drive our development in education, health, agriculture, information, land administration, via the information of internally generated revenue and many other very important and advantageous issues. To this extent, or to this end, we are also calling on information and communication players to come and collaborate with us in Benue State, particularly those with very favorable terms. Another thing that I want to also seize this opportunity to do is to also call on information and communication players to actually increase the tempo of their social responsibilities, to corporate social responsibility to their host states and the country, particularly in rural areas. If that is done, it will go a long way to help us in curbing the menace of social violence among the youth, areas of courtesan, thuggery, alcoholism and all the rest, prostitution and the rest. So we are calling on ICT player to really assist in those areas. By and large, these are the few remarks I just want to make. So we are calling on information and communication players to come and collaborate with Benue State to set up information for communication technology where the agency is fully implemented. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable. I think before you go, there might be questions, but before we kickstart the questions, and I'm sure you're not prepared for many of that. We will still ask you questions about how your state, what your state is ready to offer to, as part of the collaboration, to support development of NCT. How do you, I mean, the companies are here are listening, and how will your state work with them in the area of, for example, multiple taxation or allocation of sites? Is there any facilitate or any to facilitate development of NCT in our state?
Yes, our state is favorably disposed
Are there any further questions for Honorable Ade? Thank you so much for take us for into the next I still have a few minutes before we conclude. Therefore,
15 minutes.
If there are issues that operators want to raise for us to discuss, since the states are here to listen, if there are issues that we can look at, the 30 issues that we need to resolve between operators and the states, maybe the operators here can mention them, and then the states are here, they can obviously take it back where necessary. They can also discuss in their various forums to see how we can resolve some of these issues. Because clearly, sometimes there are issues that states get involved with that they don't have complete information. Take, for example, recently there was state governors had caused to comment on the MTN fine without full information as to what exactly was going on. So this is a forum where we can debate some of those issues. I mean, so that states can obviously benefit from the comments from the experts here. So if I may, okay, this next 7 minutes for that discussion. Maybe the operators can now catch up this opportunity. Because we don't have many states, but at least we have a few of them here. And I'm sure there are other people from other states that I've seen that might take this message back home. So, any comments on any issue that states can help resolve from the operators?
Open invitation to the audience to ask questions to state ministers, state officials over here on suggestions, comments, feedback, recommendations. The floor is yours. It's a very good chance for you to talk directly to representatives of the government and make some of your concerns heard. Questions, comments?
Well, I'll start. I'll start with the difficult one. Recently, the states have commented on the MTN fund. The implication of that is that obviously it's pushed this matter into fairly political ground instead of looking at it as a military issue that can be resolved by those people who are charged with looking at all the impacts, pros and cons of every decision, every regulatory decision. So I think it is probably necessary for us to look at the whole sector, see how we can encourage more investment into the telecom space. I know that, this is political, I'm sure MTN probably will be hesitant to speak about it, but I think it's time this kind of forum discuss such issues. I mean, it might seem nice to say, oh, let's use a big hammer on some of these big companies, but it's important also to ensure that we look at the impact, how such kind of decisions affect investment drive into our country in a time when we are looking for money to come into the country from various sources. So the SIM card registration, there's some registration issues that came up recently, and I think NCC started the registration at some point, but later on operators took over, they went into registration, and of course it was a deliberate decision. It didn't require it, but then later it became necessary. It took that time to follow certain standards. And ask the regulator. Started registration, you see how many people trooped. Had all those people been disconnected. It was, that's why sometimes when you make regulations, you look at the impact. Now, the states, the industry doesn't get harmed. Eventually, we want to enforce certain fines, but the impact can be worse for the whole state and for the country. So it is time that, you look at all the past, what has caused, what led to all of that. Obviously, there are many questions to ask, and I think when you have discussions around with the state governors or governors forum, it is necessary to look at all of these should be asked before jumping.
Mr. Nagesh, State Minister from Minister of Communication and ICT.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Service. As a result, the government has also established subscription increase for mobile technology. These several web portals have been developed for various governmental institutions so as to make government service more transparent and efficient and to ensure good governance. On top of this, we have established several community information centers, ICT incubation centers, and community radio stations for the sole benefit of our society. With regard to the issue under discussion here in Abuja, the government of Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia understood the very importance of digital technology undertaken as a critical information for the socio-economic development of the country. This issue is virtually indicated into the second 5 years growth and the transformational plan documents of the country. In this plan, we have identified what types of solutions and electronics manufacturing enterprises are required to implement and realize this plan. Basically, we feel that digital technology is the question of the day, which is highly demanded not only by the economy, but also by the young generation who were born into this digital age and are always aspiring to be online, to deal with its day-to-day lives. Because of this fact, the Ministry of Communication and Information Technology, in collaboration with the World Bank, is currently working on developing digital development strategy for Ethiopia, which will include updating the existing ICT policy and strategy, along with developing national broadband plan and electronics industry development framework. On top of this, the development of national open data system is also underway with financial support obtained from the same institution. Not only this, KPMG, the good organizations, which is here yesterday, is also undertaking the existing e-government strategy, updating the existing government strategy, which may pave the way for digital development of the country. In order to conclude, to describe that the development of digital signals the possibility of put in our plan, but it inspires above all stakeholders, particularly the private sectors, to exert its utmost its respective goals and objectives in accelerating the development of ICT. The government of Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, on its part, needs to realize informed and knowledge-based society that drives the development endeavors and social transformation. In doing so, it's quite possible to accelerate the pace of social and economic development of the country and ensure good governance, which all social groups can be benefited from. Finally, I need to say thank you.
Thank you, Minister. We would like to take a few questions. Mr. Nagesh, would you like to take a few questions from the audience? Are you open for some questions? Yeah, sure. Any questions from the audience for our minister friend from Ethiopia, Minister Nagesh, Minister of ICTs? Yes, we have a couple of questions. Can you come back on the stage? You have two quick questions. Thank you so much. Please. Yeah, go ahead, Brad.
Bradley Shaw here. Honourable Minister, thank you very much for the presentation. I'm curious, the anything geographic coverage or population coverage that you're talking about in terms of rural telecoms coverage?
Geographic coverage. Basically, I have personally discussed with different individuals here what opportunities are available in our country and how they can assist us with the aim of win-win strategy. But therefore, I'd like to call upon, our door is open to you who can support the development of ICT and telecom infrastructure in telecom services in our country. I thank you.
And one more question here, one last question. Last question from Rashid.
Honourable Minister, I have I've been attending many of the IAD conferences in Ethiopia since it started, and I happen to have made several comments on your national TV during some of those conferences, calling on Ethiopia as one of these, or the second most, correct, in Africa, to look at exactly. So it is. I was calling on the government to look at way of liberalizing the market so that our citizens can benefit from the huge potentials of ICT to promote various businesses, tourism, agriculture, many other areas where I have spoken time and time again for this to happen. Can we hear from you what your country is doing now towards liberalizing the market, promoting competition in the sector, encouraging more investment in Ethiopia on ICTs? Thank you.
Okay, it's a good question. As far as ICT is concerned, there is no limit. It's already liberalized by its nature. ICT is a sphere of economy where private sector can be involved or play a major role. The question is not about the ICT. The question is about telecom, as I understood. This is, for the time being, it is in the hand of government or public operator. We do have our own reasons from our development thought. We don't need at this time to break such monopoly because of two things. Number one, we have unmet needs down the street, which the private sector cannot meet. The government will take the responsibility, and even through subsidizing whatever can. Number two, the sector is generating money. We need that money, as we are, the resource is very scarce. We need such money not to spend somewhere else on mega projects like train road constructions. But this is not the end of the story. The time will come. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nagesh. Now let me invite our next speaker from Swaziland to please come up on stage. Our next speaker is Honorable Dumisani Christopher, Ministry of ICT from Swaziland. Will you please come up and share with us some of your insights and some of the exciting developments from Swaziland. Round of applause please for Honorable Dumisani Christopher from Malawi.
Thank you
President. I greet you all. Swaziland, among other countries across Africa, finds benefit from ICTs, and indeed has set the agenda to support the development of the whole ICT sector through national information and communication infrastructure. That is the NICI. This policy takes into account agreements and treaties to which Swaziland is party, including the African Information Society Initiative, SADC, that is the Information Communication Technology Framework, and the New Partnership for Africa Development, that is NEPAD, and the Declaration of Principles and Action Plan of the first phase of the World Summit on Information Society. Prominent to this was the creation of a level playing field for the ICT consumers and investors alike by establishing an independent regulatory authority, that is the Swaziland Communications Commission, which to date has a huge task of normalizing the ICT sector by ensuring that there is compliance and fair play for all stakeholders. ICT projects are being rolled out to projects. Harnessing of the ICT facilities in this regard becomes the axis of socio-economic development of the rural communities. The Swaziland government sees this as a tool to low cost, ease of doing business. A number of strategies have been developed to ensure the effective implementation of the policy plan, and implementations are ongoing. This could not happen without challenges, which have seen some of the implementation timelines being reviewed. Challenges, among others, include the time it has taken to process the country's electronic communications regulations through Parliament, the realignment of reviews of some of the existing legal frameworks to suit the present times for a smooth, efficient implementation of the ICT strategies. The huge resource demand for satisfying these requirements in the face of the global economic meltdown. Remedies for each one of the challenges are being found as and when they show up. The Department of Communications within the Ministry of ICT is tasked with the responsibility for ensuring that all policy instruments necessary for supporting the NIC policy implementation are in place and in time. Stakeholder participation, including public and private partnership in the crafting of implementation plans and strategies, has become one better vehicle for achieving the ICT goals. This has recently worked well in the establishment of the country's IXP, where the private sector played a vital role of ownership of the facility with the guidance of government. And to support Africa's growth and development and to take full advantage of the huge investment in ICT connectivity, innovation, government agencies and departments, mobile network operators, telecoms, ISPs, financial institutions, retailers and other customer-facing service providers must assess how ICT innovation can support their engagement strategies, operational efficiencies, quality of service improvements, and support national and regional development objectives is very important. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Minister Nandithansi. We're going to take a couple of questions from the audience as well. Bashir, any comments, questions that you want to ask? Audience comments and questions? A very good chance to hear insights on what's happening. Yes. Perfect, please.
Honourable Minister, good day. I work quite a bit in Swaziland, and I'm aware that MTN is obviously the main player there from a mobile communications perspective. So my question is how is the Ministry as well as MTN working together to promote the rollout of the ICT services throughout Swaziland?
I'm sorry, I can't get the question.
This will be the last one.
The question is, how is the Ministry working and encouraging and mandating to roll out, especially the Big Bend, etc.?
That is Swaziland Post and Telecoms. Does government
It's coming. Not this one. This is from Chad. That's the next one. The one before this, Lesotho. Doesn't appear. What's the second presentation?
That's technology.
Yes. Speaker from Chad. Surprise invited guest speaker, and particularly let's finish our presentation here from Lesotho. Dennis, any luck getting the presentation?
Doesn't appear. You won't see what I wanted you to, which is surrounded by South Africa. There isn't much countries. Sometimes 2 million plus 121. In our 70 is mountains and 30 the terrain. We always have challenges in the country because of the able to cover something like 93%, which is almost the whole country. But in terms of the broadband, it's around 42%. The initiative that the country has taken is in terms of the science. The use of science and technology, and science and technology is already passed from the cabinet, and at the moment it's in the parliament, and very soon it's going to be elected and becomes an act. And inside the policy, the bill, there is this commission, technology commission, which will be in forefront in terms of organizing and looking after the technology in the country. Apart from that, there will be what you call innovation fund. Innovation fund as well is going to be controlling most of the innovations in the country. And coming to the broadband, the broadband policy at the moment is being drafted, and it's about to be complete, and very soon is one of the we have been. At the moment, our country is probably 2 or 3 months now. It will be. There's this project which at the moment, in partnership with whereby we are going to connect another district, because we are having the district, and when we are rolling out this project, showing you the map. From South Africa, putting it underground is a big problem. But another way of trying to put it or reach into other places, we are going to use the power lines. From there, we are going to build 4 service centers in the country from when it reaches or land, normally we call it visual landing point, where it's going to land. From there, it's going to be taken to other places where that place that I'm talking about, there are 4. And that 4 is going to assist in distributing the fiber from that places to the rural, down from that places to the rural areas where we can reach. The other new initiatives that the country has taken is in terms of this project is to rehabilitate. The aim is to have a satisfied engineers who reduce level of dependence and before they can migrate. And we are having a problem with our neighbors South Africa because they haven't migrated. At the moment, they're still waiting. They are having their own problems, and because of the signals and the spectrums crossing over to another country, so waiting.
Please for Nicola, and Dennis, can you bring up the
Good morning, good evening, everybody. My English is just a small. So I just want to greet His Excellency or his representative of Ministry of Communication. presentation here, and also greet the federal governor of Abuja representative here. Thank you very much. Je vais continuer le reste en français.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Ezekiel Damere from Cameroon. I'm here to assist my friend from Chad. Thank you.
Voilà. Donc, l'équipe qui est devant vous est constituée comme suit. Moi, je m'appelle Nikora Komobe Josué. Je suis.
I'm called Mr. Nicolas Kenanozé from Chad.
Yes. Je suis le directeur de communication du ministère des Postes et Nouvelles Technologies de l'Information et de la Communication.
I'm the director of Post Telecommunication in my country.
Donc, je représente ici le ministre des Postes. Nous sommes là avec mon collègue qui est le directeur des télécommunications, services universels et des télécommunications d'urgence.
I'm here with my colleague on the other side. We have come to represent the Ministry of Post and Telecommunication in our country.
Voilà. Donc, si la technique est prête,
If it's possible, you can start with a slide.
c'est bon. Donc, nous allons présenter brièvement le Tchad.
We'll present briefly the slide.
Comment est-ce que les technologies de l'information et de la communication, l'univers de l'environnement, des TIC se développent là-bas.
To present to you how this telecommunication has been able to create awareness in our own part of the country.
Voilà, donc on va donc passer au contexte historique sur les télécommunications du Tchad.
We'll go on the context of this slide.
Donc, le contexte historique du Tchad, le contexte historique.
The history of Chad as far as mobile communication is
Voilà,
concerned.
donc les chiffres que vous voyez, c'est une erreur ici, tu peux m'aider. Excusez un peu, ça c'est la technique.
Perhaps you will agree with this statement.
Voilà. Donc, le Tchad, c'est un pays de l'Afrique centrale.
Chad is a country in Central Africa.
Un pays de l'Afrique centrale.
Central Africa.
Afrique centrale. Donc, voilà, il a 6 pays limitrophes, donc le Cameroun, le Niger, le Nigeria, le Soudan, la Libye et la Centrafrique.
There are 6 countries together with these countries. We have Chad, we have Cameroon, we have Libya, Nigeria,
Puis la Libye.
And Libya. Sorry.
Central Africa.
It's difficult. I haven't been able to do this before.
Donc, le contexte historique des télécommunications du Tchad commence généralement à partir de 1950 jusqu'à 1975.
It actually started in 1950 to 1975.
Voilà. Où le Tchad appartenait à l'Office équatorial des postes et télécommunications.
That Chad was being handled by Equatorial and Post and Telecommunication as a main body.
De 1976 à 1998.
In 1976 to 1998.
Pour développer le secteur des télécommunications, le Tchad a créé l'Office national des postes et télécommunications.
In order to improve on this ministry, 2 agencies were being created, that's ONPT and TIT.
Voilà. Et cette partie était gérée par l'État tchadien.
The ONPT was purely controlled by the Chadian government.
Mais il y avait la TIT.
But there was TIT.
les télécommunications internationales du Tchad qui était géré par la France.
And this independent body was being controlled by a French colony.
Maintenant, de 1998 jusqu'à 2014,
and from 1998 to 2014,
il y a eu une nette évolution dans le domaine législatif.
There was a great change that happened in Chad as the legislative was being created to enforce and embrace telecommunication in Chad.
Comme vous le savez, notre pays, le Tchad, est un pays enclavé qui n'avait pas de débouchés. C'était difficile, donc il fallait créer des cadres juridiques pour permettre au secteur TIC de pouvoir se développer.
As you all know, Chad had recently Chad had to embrace this change in order to permit them equally enforcing this telecommunication awareness to us.
Ouais. Donc de 2014 jusqu'à nos jours, cette évolution juridique, ce cadre juridique et législatif a permis au Tchad de créer des entités et des agences pour développer le secteur des TIC.
From 2014 to present day, the country has done greatly in creating agencies and ministry to take part in creating this awareness and evolution in mobile communication.
Donc, le tableau que vous voyez devant vous,
what you see in front of you,
sont les indicateurs clés du secteur TIC jusqu'à nos jours.
It's a clear statistic of what is happening in Chad from 2015.
Donc nous avons les chiffres des affaires des opérateurs. Nous avons plus de 178 milliards qui est généré par an.
We have about 170 billion, which is being it's an annual statistic that has been carried out by this operator.
Et en termes de PIB, produit intérieur brut, les télécoms contribuent à raison de 1,5%.
And what is being contributed to the government is just about 1.5%.
Nous avons des emplois directs. Avant de connaître les emplois directs, il vaut mieux connaître quels sont les opérateurs qui interviennent au Tchad.
Before I go on the employment rate, I would like first of all to highlight on the operators that are operating in Chad.
Donc au Tchad, nous avons deux opérateurs privés de téléphonie mobile.
In Chad, there are two main operators, private operators operating in Chad.
Nous avons Airtel.
We have Airtel.
Et Tigo.
And we have Tigo.
Nous avons l'opérateur national qui s'appelle Sotel. C'est le groupe Sotel Tchad.
And we have the which is called Soto, just like in Cameroon we call it Cartel.
Sotel Tchad, le groupe Sotel Tchad.
That's the group Sotel Tchad as the main operator.
Oui. Comme je le disais, c'est l'opérateur national qui a mis aussi sur pied la téléphonie mobile qui s'appelle Salam.
Is the main operator that has put in place which is called Salam in the country.
Donc, globalement, au Tchad, nous avons 3 opérateurs de téléphonie mobile.
That in total we have 3 main operators in Chad.
2 opérateurs privés.
2 private operators.
Et un opérateur également public d'État.
And 1 state operator.
C'est aussi important de connaître comment au Tchad les structures sont organisées. Donc le ministère des Postes et Nouvelles Technologies de l'Information et de la Communication que je représente.
It will be of interest to you to know how this ministry is being divided and controls telecommunication activities in the country.
Voilà, le ministère a créé des entités sous tutelle.
The ministry has created private entities.
Et ces entités sous tutelle travaillent en étroite collaboration directement avec le ministère.
And these entities work directly with the ministry.
Nous avons l'ARCEP.
We have ARCEP.
ARCEP, c'est l'autorité de régulation des communications électroniques et des postes.
It's a regulated body that regulates telecommunication activities in the country.
Et nous avons l'ADTIC, qui est l'Agence de développement des technologies de l'information et de la communication.
And we have ADTIC. It's a separate organ that regulates
l'Agence de développement des technologies de l'information et de la communication.
Electronic and post and telecommunication activities in the country.
Donc, l'ARCEP et l'ADTIC sont deux entités qui viennent d'être créées grâce au cadre législatif, les lois 012 et 014 qui ont été poussées par le président de la République.
Thanks to the law of 2014, two of these agencies were being created in order to ameliorate the facilities of mobile communication in the country.
Et le ministère aussi travaille avec les opérateurs privés, comme nous l'avons cité, Airtel, Tigo, Sotel.
And the ministry works together with these three operators, just as I mentioned, Sotel, Tigo, and Airtel.
Et le ministère travaille aussi en étroite collaboration avec les fournisseurs d'accès Internet.
And we equally work with other internet service providers.
Donc,
to regulate activities based on telecommunication activity in the country.
Donc, l'ADTIC research
center was created as well.
Donc, en tant que, comme des événements, le Tchad